Thanks, Stephanie. So dance is about discipline. I mean, if you aren't dancing, you can't call yourself a dancer. And to do that on a daily basis, which you need to do if you want your body at that level of articulation, takes a lot of time. And on the other hand, most dancers have a very hedonistic life. I mean, I have to say I long for the days when hedonism still meant sex to me. But now it's kind of changing. But I think back to those first times where I was really dancing, as in this photograph when I'm like 20 years old, and this was my first New York dance performance. And of course, there's kind of a sense of nostalgia and regret for me. And at the same time, there's the concept of what I really hated about that time in my life, which was I lived on filet of fish from McDonald's, which cost me 37 cents a day. That's how much money I was making. At that time, I was dancing with one of New York's most amazing women, Carol Conway, a woman from Louisville, Kentucky. It took me a long time to realize how to say Louisville, but there it was. And she introduced me, as well as to a lot of dance, to the cherry cheese knish, which started my life of being absolutely passionate about food. I mean, you see the cheese, the cherry oozing out. And from there, I graduated to the souffle. And it was actually the souffle that brought me back to Edmonton. Because when I first met my partner, we would make souffles. And then while the souffle was rising, we'd have sex on the kitchen floor. And it kind of brought the whole thing of the hedonistic life together. And when I came back, I realized I needed to form the Webb Dance Company. Now, to this day, the Webb Dance Company is the only not-for-profit in Alberta with the creator's name on it. So the ego was building as I went along. And all of a sudden, I get to this point where I realize today this dichotomy between the discipline of dancing and eating has really done me in. I mean, I like wearing that loose shirt when I'm dancing. It covers my gut. And it takes me to one of the great food experiences I've ever had, which was that in 2010, 3 friends and I went to Paris for Christmas. We decided we'd go to L'Arpège, one of the great French restaurants. We were introduced to this temple of food through the amuse-bouche, which is a bit of scrambled egg with some vinegar and the Canadian host, some maple syrup. It's one of the great inventions of Alain Passard, one of the great French chefs, who is really known for his gardens. In his temple to food, he serves only vegetables from his 3 gardens on the outskirts of Paris, and he allows no beef in that restaurant. At that same time, I was introduced, or reintroduced, I guess I could say, to one of my ex-students, Nancy Sandercock, with whom I still dance. She was my student from Peace River, and she now lives in LA, and where she is a drummer in 2 rock bands and a dancer. When we were having lunch at Passar's restaurant. We were the last in there. And so he suggested we stay for this morsel that he had created for his family to just come in. So we got 2 main courses out of our lunch for 4, which cost us exactly 1,700 euros, which is just under $3,000. And we finally got to the dessert, mille fruits, 1,000 layers of pastry with the most elegant pastry cream you can ever imagine. Now, I've learned to make that, and poor Nancy has to carry me on her back. But this is all part of the dance experience, you know? And keeping oneself present in the here and now, dancing who I am today. It involves then the issues that I'm interested in. And so I did a dance several years ago with Lyle Trottier, who's a Cree grass dancer. And we shared a 5-acre field, now where Grant McEwen resides. And we danced together in October, in the snow, I might add. I think it's amazing, it never ceases to amaze me, that I am able to follow my passion through a whole career of dance and fine eating. Thank you.